The Defenders Episode 1, The H Word. Of course, the Defenders are finally here. We have our four Marvel Netflix heroes officially coming together after years and years, seasons and seasons. We have our very first episode, and it was really good. It is actually, it's pretty much the recap. I didn't realize I needed it until I watched the whole episode, because when you kind of put them in order, it's like, oh, you had Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Daredevil again, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and now the Defenders. When you say it like that, it's like, oh, it's super simple, but it's been years since we've seen Jessica Jones, and you know, it's been forever since those characters have shown up, and you know, it's been quite a while for Daredevil, like even since season 2. It's been a while since that's actually happened as well. So it's like, when I think back on it, it's like, man, we actually haven't seen these characters, it seems like, in a million years. Like, we heard Trish, if I remember right, in Luke Cage, they like had her do a little scene where it was you know, like her radio show, but that was really it. And it was like, oh, that's a cool little crossover there. But that was it. Like, we hear her voice, and then, you know, it's all said and done. And this was like that cool recap. It's like, all right, here's what's been happening since, you know, not only Jessica Jones, but Daredevil season 2. Mostly with Daredevil is where there's differences. With Jessica, it's kind of like you know, they ended that first season where she was officially starting things up. Her and Malcolm were kind of restarting alias investigations. Technically, I guess that never really happened. They've just been kind of moving along, doing their thing. And it was cool to see all the characters. I really love that, because we get to see Trish, we get to see Malcolm. Of course, from the Daredevil perspective, we get to see Karen, we get to see Foggy. So that was really cool that we got to see like all the characters. Of course, like every side character that there is that, you know, needs to show up, shows up in this first episode. So I really love that. But it was pretty awesome. I was like, yeah, this is definitely the recap that I wasn't expecting, but I certainly enjoyed it. But, you know, episode kicks off. It actually starts with Danny and Colleen, and them actually going up against Elektra in the beginning, which I thought was a really cool sequence. It starts off with her chasing down, you know, we never find out really who this guy is. It was just like a lead that Danny and Colleen had. And so she's dealing with this dude, and then Danny comes in and saves his life at the last second. But he can't fight against Elektra. Like, she's just better than him. So she ends up getting the chance to like stab the dude, and then she kind of takes off. He chases her down, hits her with the Iron Fist, and she literally like disappears into the darkness, and he can't find her again. So I was like, okay. Decent little action sequence. It was very martial arts like, you know, the way they were doing the cuts and stuff like that, and like, you know, it was like water dripping on them and stuff, and they're like the blade like hitting water drops in the rain. I was like, yeah, that's actually a really cool sequence. So it was a cool starting sequence, and of course we get all the characters and what everybody's been doing. So of course we get to see Luke Cage leaving prison. That's where we get like our first actual, well, I guess technically the first shot is the first crossover, since Elektra was in Daredevil first. So that was like our first little sequence. Then Foggy shows up to give a card to Luke, where it's like, hey, here's a card, you know, if you need Hogarth and the other two names that are irrelevant, you know, we're at your disposal, that sort of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. We got a little, you know, shot of Foggy. We get to see Matt doing his thing, which is really awesome. Like, every time they show him do like a hardcore moment in a court case, I'm like, this makes me want to watch like a procedural court drama, even though I hate those shows. Every time he does it, it just looks, you know, it's super entertaining. And it's just like, you know, he wins the kids $11 million, which is insane, and, you know, pro bono work. But, you know, he helps win that case, and they actually have a really cool moment of him talking to the son, because the son may or may not be permanently paralyzed. At least he's in a wheelchair now. And he tells him, like, you know, you can't, you know, they can't give you your life back. You have to like take it back. And I thought that was just a cool moment where, you know, he's a man with disabilities talking to someone else who's kind of just not going through it, and he kind of gives them that life lesson, like, this is what it's going to be like. It's going to be tough. You may walk again, and I hope you do, but you also may not. And this is just something that I feel you need to know in case it's the, you know, worst case scenario. So I thought that was actually a really cool little moment. Jessica's thing is Jessica being drunk. First scene is her waking up in the bar in, you know, in the morning, which I love that scene. It was like, you know, the night's just getting started. He's like, night, and he opens it up, and she's like, oh shit. And I love the fact that they cut it where she like slams the glass down and it just shatters on the counter. Of course, she ends up helping out Trish, whose car is about to get towed, and she just yanks it off the thing. So I thought that was funny. It's like, you know, we got a problem, and of course, you know, what's the cop gonna do? Like, she's got super strength. So I just love that, and I also love the fact that this really shows off, at least for Jessica and Luke Cage, I feel like this really shows off, like, alright, super strength is officially out there. Like, for the two of their characters, it's like, he's the hero of Harlem, she's just, you know, the private investigator who can just, you know, destroy people, and that's pretty much all she does, is destroy people and drink. So everyone knows not to really F with them. Is like, well, they can kill me. Like, everyone just kind of knows, and I just always thought that was kind of cool for their characters. And it's like that even in Jessica Jones, where she's like, I don't really hide it, but it's not like I'm like, I have super strength. So it was one of those things I liked about the show, even back then, but now it's like, especially with them bringing the characters together, it's like, yeah, they're people with superpowers. No big deal. Like, people know about it, and they can kind of use that to their advantage. So I thought that was cool with this first episode. But, she's just doing her thing, drinking. She gets a case, which I thought it was very interesting that they did it this way, and I feel like this was kind of the point. Maybe it was just me. But this case, the case that she gets where, the mom and the daughter come to her, the first thing I thought of was like the first episode of Jessica Jones, because that's the first case, is where it's this woman and her daughter, and that's when things kind of get, started up with the Purple Man. So I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. So I don't know if that was really meant to be a reference to the first season, but that's like the first thing I thought was like, oh, it's a mother and daughter again, and that, that idea of what happened the last time, this case went. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool reference that they did that, but it was cool. Nice to see Malcolm, obviously he's off the drugs from the last season, so, they've been sort of working together, of course, like I said, but I like their relationship, and, Jessica's got, like, her two people and stuff, so it was really cool seeing all the characters, and everything that they're doing now. Luke, of course, gets out of prison. First thing he does, he sees Claire, and then they do it. And then he ends up talking with Misty and trying to figure out, like, what's going on with Harlem, because Claire wouldn't tell him while he was in prison, like, exactly what was happening. So he kind of gets some information from Misty, like, this is what's happening. There's, these random issues. We don't really know what's happening. We don't really know what Mariah and Shades are really up to right now. But, as far as we know, same story over and over again. 20-something-year-old moved to this place. Suddenly they happen to die in a weird little accident in the middle of the night, so we don't know what's going on. So, they kind of build up all these stories, which of course are going to, well, I don't know, it's hard to say, because we have the hand, but I would assume that everything's going to come together. It's all going to be somehow related to the hand. That's just my guess. But it would be kind of cool if there were technically two separate things. I wouldn't be surprised either, because we, of course, have, with Iron Fist and Luke Cage, eventually going off into, Heroes for Hire is like a duo. I would assume that there's going to be something in here that isn't, like, just related to the hand. Like, there's got to be something that is either solely related to, like, Iron Fist, or solely related to Luke Cage, or maybe their two things come together, and then the hand is, like, a third element, because, the hand is, like, the big thing for everybody. So maybe that's how they'll kind of do it, where it's like, here's the hand is the main enemy. There's, like, a little tiny, bits and pieces of the story for maybe Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist will join him, because they'll be doing the Heroes for Hire thing. So I feel like that might be how that plays out. It won't all just be like everything's related to the hand. There could be some elements that, maybe connect, and that, of course, that's how the characters meet. And then, it's those threads are still there for the future. It's not like everything gets, solved in this episode, or, in this season. But still really cool. It's like, all right, he's still doing his thing. In Harlem and stuff like that. The way they transition between the characters, I thought was pretty cool. Every time they cut to Luke, they have, it's like, oh, black music and stuff. I just thought it was really funny, because it was just like instantly hip hop. Like, everything else I always felt was silent. All the other scenes I feel were silent except for his. And then it's like, here's hip hop playing in the background. But, like, the color palette is different for the characters, because everyone has their different colors. So, of course, they do a lot of red. With Daredevil, I feel like the only person they don't really utilize the color is probably Iron Fist, oddly enough, because Luke, of course, and it's kind of weird, because, Iron Fist is supposed to have, like, it's supposed to be, like, green and yellow, but mostly he just has the green, like, his green jacket, and that's really it. So, with Luke Cage, of course, the color palette, like, everything has, like, a little hint of yellow on it, which I thought was cool. He officially has the yellow shirt, which I thought was awesome. He still puts the hoodie on, but I was like, oh, he has, like, the full-on yellow shirt, so I was like, that's actually super cool. I kind of wish he didn't put the hoodie on after, because I was like, oh, that's just really sweet. I thought he was going to leave with Missy with just the shirt. I was like, that's awesome. But then he put the hoodie on. I was like, oh, okay. Well, still cool. But I was like, oh, I was kind of excited, because he had, like, just, the full yellow shirt, and just, because that's, like, his outfit. It's literally just a yellow shirt and some pants. That's really it. But I was like, oh, that's sweet. And then he put the hoodie on over. I was like, oh, still cool. But, I was hoping for just the super bright yellow shirt. But, he has, like, the yellow palette over his stuff. With Matt, they do, like, a lot of the red. And, of course, it helps that they constantly show stuff, like, random issues with cops showing up and things like that. With Jessica, it's darker. Not exactly purple, but it's definitely darker, tint to everything compared to everybody else. And, like I said, with Danny, I feel like they didn't really utilize the same sort of deal. But, it's like, for him, it was kind of just all over the place, because the first sequence is dark, where they're literally, like, in the sewers, and then it's, like, them on the plane, and him having his dream sequence and stuff, which I thought was actually really cool. I like that dream sequence where he's, he's just, like, kind of clearing his mind a little bit after the battle he had with Elektra, and then the way they do it, where he looks behind him in the reflection, and he sees that things are different, and now he's, like, in a dream sequence. I actually thought that was cool, the way that they kind of played that idea. So, really loved that. seeing all the characters was definitely awesome. Seeing the characters interact was really good. And then of course it comes down to the end of the episode, and there's like this crazy earthquake, across the state. Well, maybe not across like the whole state, but across at least New York. And then we get to see everyone's experience. Jessica is going further and further with this mission, and of course she ends up, after she gets this crazy phone call, when she accepts it, she does decide to look for this guy, and she ends up finding like a buttload of C4. So something crazy is going on there. We have Matt just kind of at home doing his thing, and then things get really nuts. Well, of course, Luke ends up actually saving the mother of the guy that they talk about earlier on in the episode. Her son was killed, and so he ends up saving her when the light pole was about to fall on her. And Danny and Colleen get right off the helicopter, and then they just see power shutting down. There's like a giant crack that comes towards them on the helipad, and things are just weird and super crazy. And then of course we have our main villain. I don't think they say her name, but of course it's Sigourney Weaver. So she's doing her thing, and we find out a pretty interesting thing in this episode, that she's actually dying. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. That puts a timetable on her character. So I don't know if they're gonna kind of play up that idea where she's struggling to survive. They say like it could be months, it could be weeks. So I like that idea where it's like she's on the timetable, and that's why she pushes everything up. We see Madame Gao, which was super awesome. I love Madame Gao. Like, she's just in every freaking thing. It's just like Madame Gao is the hand, but this weird sect of the hand, which is some important version of the hand, because clearly they have Elektra, so it's like very important, but you can't tell which version it is. It's impossible to tell because there's like multiple versions now. But it was super cool. I was like, sweet, we get to see Madame Gao, and we have Sigourney Weaver's character who is above Madame Gao. Like, I'm really curious, like, is Madame Gao just waiting to take over? Is she ever going to take over? Like, she's always there in some capacity, especially, Daredevil and then Iron Fist. She's there because the hand is there, and she's a part of the hand, but then there's multiple factions of the hand as well, and it's just like, where does she rank? Because there's always some other person that comes in that's a part of the hand, and it's like, I'm super important, and she's not as important as me, and it's like, where does she rank? Because she seems to be super important to me. Like, she's got some weird mystical magic strength, and it's like, how is she not that important compared to these other people who don't seem to be as powerful as her? So I just always wonder that, because it's like, they got her character in there all the time, and I'm just like, when is she going to be like the ultimate villain? When is she going to officially, rise to power? Because I'm kind of waiting for that, because I just like her character. I almost want her to be the main villain at some point. But I'm sure they're just kind of waiting and, saving that. She keeps getting like higher and higher, because people just keep either getting killed off or busted. And so it's like she has to be rising in the ranks. But it was great to see her. But I'm looking forward to this season. I thought it was a pretty cool first episode. Like I said, it was exciting to watch it, because it was like, I was kind of going into it. I was, of course, it's the characters teaming up, so the first thing I'm thinking is like, man, I can't wait till they just all get together. And it doesn't happen in this episode. They don't even meet in this episode. That's not until the next one, actually. And I thought it was pretty cool. And it was like, going through it, like I said, the fact that it was the recap I didn't realize that I actually needed, it worked. It made the episode actually really great. We just get to see what everybody's doing, and then they slowly come together as things move forward. I'm excited for them to, just come together as a team. That's going to be sweet when it happens. But it was pretty cool. I was like, all right, I like this episode. It's fine that it's taking its time. We got, unfortunately, only 8 episodes instead of the 12 episodes. But this first episode was almost a full hour. Normally the episodes are like 43 minutes, like a normal hour-long TV show is, including commercial breaks, or without commercial breaks. That's how it is. But this first episode was officially like 53 minutes instead of like the 42 minutes that they normally are. So I was like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. Like, those 10 minutes make a difference when there's no commercials. I felt like it was much longer because it's just like those extra 10 minutes, and it really helped. So really like this first episode. Of course, we'll love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And naturally, it's 4 superheroes coming together as one. I just want to know what theories you guys have, what characters you guys think we might see, because I'm sure they're going to have more than just the hand, especially like what they're doing with the Luke Cage thing. I would assume that that's not just going to instantly be like, yep, it's the hand doing like drug running or whatever, because he mentions like a courier or something, so it's like it's kind of left up in the air exactly what it is, because they don't think it's drugs, but he says courier, so it could be that. So I would love to know if there are any villains you guys would like to see, what you guys want to see in general, if you guys have any theories or anything like that based on like the trailers in this first episode, what you think we might be seeing. We'd love to know your theories and just what you guys want to see. So please put your comments down in the comment section below, and of course, thanks for watching.